Hello, beautiful people. The climate is wobbling here, but we have to make sure that the day continues. That's the best moment that we have. From wherever you are, it's Gintu. Back again. We have, so it was a little bit of a chit chat here and there, and walking helter skelter, Babylon kills last year. Wherever you are tuned, keep it locked. Asante sana. And as we're going to be making sure that we are having much of the section of today here, as we're going to be moving from one position to another and iteratively check on how the climate is checking. It's going to be raining. God has to send one of the daughters here to bring much of the water. That's the nature, and we have to salute for it. And as we continue for making the vibe to continue, we have much of the things here to put in a straightforward pathway, because much of the things are coming helter-skelter. Babylon kills slash here and there. But to tackle such kind of the matters, it's just a simple and very unique fight. I've been a little bit having some problems with pneumonia a little bit here. Cherishing with it and making sure that we're going to be having some 2-3 things here. I talk about the herbs and such kind of the things here. Much of the people talk about Gintu cannot go to the hospital. A condition, we understand about it. The fact is I've taken much of the local one. It's the local herbs here. And my stomach is now wobbling, making sure that it's roaming, looking for the network. That's the nature, we understand it. And I'm now loitering around side the street here and there. Whenever I hear that, some of unconditional circumstances, you know, sometimes you can find yourself estivating and making other stuffs to come out. So that's why I'm always parking alongside the toilet to make sure that things are going to be getting fantastic. Much of the people talk about Gintu. Is that the karma? No, that's the nature. We understand it. Wobbling. Thank you. As I've just checked much of the people right now, they're talking about, Gintu was in Nairobi. Or I went to Nairobi, and you understand Qarol. And Qarol, wherever you are, thank you very much for being tuned and watching the videos. I appreciate the moment, and that is the best moment that we have. As far as everything is in concern, I've checked. They are talking about Gintu has been flirting with Qarol. That's a stupidity of the highest order. You know, much of the people want to have a content, and we understand about the content, how it's going to be coming. That's the nature. We understand because everybody is looking for a little bit of something, so as the children can just go to the toilet. That's the fantastic moment, and we appreciate for it. It's the same way whenever we are just making sure that the videos are coming. We are told that whenever you are making the videos here and there, make sure that you are making some things to move on, and for the things to move on is use my name and make things that are adding up, the positive things. We ever did it, but the other one, we're told that the striking has to occur, and things were just going unconditionally. We were thrown into an imbroglio. That's the nature. We understand it. For the fact is the people are just wobbling here and there, talking about Gintu, Qarol, this and this. Qarol, whenever I saw her the last time was when she came to Nyabuanse, and she drove much of talk about the sanitary parts to the girl child here, and that's the time I just met with Qarol for the first time, and I talk about it was something which was adding up to the real fact of the time. That was a very fantastic moment for me to have with her and Cherish together, because she was just wondering, Gintu is whenever I'm just in the camera, I don't know, for the fact for the people who are just checking me onto the camera, I think much of the people have ever been seeing Gintu from the middle stage to the upper stage here, and they have never checked me for the whole why, how I just. But the real fact is that's how the video is going to be coming, because she was not even I think about her could be a huge the way she was just proposing at that time. But the fact is one, for the people thinking about the bonding, you know what's making some of the people to have a problem outside there? It's the bonding. The bonding about all these kind of the reactors are bonding this way, the bonding that way. That's what's becoming a headache to them, and they're just wondering. Guys, today the sound is going to be not coming out the way I always have talk here and there, because right now the chest is rotating, making sure that everything is fantastic, because last few weeks here I've been having much of the problems east and south and the center. You understand what has been from the attacks, from the strikes, from everything, from running like you think we are in a marathon. You understand that's kind of the scenario how it goes. But the fact is we are moving and making it happening from one position to another, and that's the real fact about how we're going to be checking forward. For the real effect is everything is going on good, but I found 2-3 things here, because you understand. Yesterday I was in a court and had some 2-3 judgments here and there, and everything is so fantastic. Right now, there's no much of helter-skelter Babylon. This one, no. That's just a forgotten issues. We don't have such kind of the things. For the people who are supporting Gintu, thank you very much for you being tuned. And we have much of the things to associate and talk about. This is how we're gonna be making forward. That's the real fact about it. And the nature is calm, and you can just hear the thunders from. It's gonna be raining somewhere. That's the nature. You know, the rain of Africa here, it has some of the problems here. Whenever it's going to be raining to the eastern south, it cannot rain to the other far side because it's cut with the river. Whenever it can never cross a river. I don't know why. Some geographers who are just here can just tell us the real fact about it, because whenever a river can branch another, the rain can branch another river, it gets a problem. And I don't know why it cannot go to the other panel the way it has rained in this side. It can just rain to the other side whenever the river is there. I don't know why. Geographers can just tell us the real fact about it. But we have to associate ourselves and talk about this, how the nature is moving. I'm checking here and there, because yesterday it was about to rain in terms of the hailstones here. And everything is adding up because my bananas here have to be weeded, and I've started much of the implementation to make sure that I'm weeding. That's the real fact about it. As we move forward, I'm checking much of the bananas there are so big, and they're going to be selling a lot of money. This is an asset, this is an M-Pesa. For the people talking about an M-Pesa, there's an M-Pesa. Because whenever you have a problem a little bit, it's going to be the first hand money. This is the real fact. And I'm going to be sticking much of my camera here to make sure that I'm giving you much of the content coming right now. Because I don't have the stand, that's the fact you have to understand right now, because the stand went. But the fact is that they're going to be returning it very soon. That's the real fact that's going to be coming. There's not much of the hesitation, as you understand. What's giving much of the people a problem is whereby they want to talk about Gintu has this kind of the Mosmikwa's alignment with the reactors, because once upon a time I talked about this kind of the beautiful ladies, we have them here, and much of the people are proposing, oh Gintu, can you marry the demon? Oh no, teen go, whoa, D go, wow. No, the nation. I cannot have such kind of the flatiment with such kind of a lady, because she's gonna be toxic, and you understand their behavior. I don't want to have such kind of the stupid behavior and the crooked and hashish family, such kind of a thing that, oh, we have to be controlled this way. They're going to be controlling me also to the house. That's the real fact. But I have to assume I have such kind of the thing so as we can just move in another parallel way. The fact is always coming out in a way that but marriage doesn't have that's how one of the singers in Africa talked about talk about the flirting. It doesn't have the age or the limit, and that's the fact. I understand. But the demon, I know she was ever looking for Gintu helter skelter, but right now this kind of the people calling themselves the positive reactors, which are not even composable for this kind of the things that they're talking about. They're talking about, oh, you know, you understand, oh, this and that and this. Oh, it's because they're talking about, oh, Gintu never asked any kind of the friendship from this kind of the demon. That's the real fact. And they're talking about, oh, now they want to exchange, because they know in Yabuanse here, there's one of the guy who is always roaming like, guys, today the chest is going to be not coming out the way you are because of the capacity, and talk about I don't know if the esophagus and such kind of the tracheas are bringing some of the problems. I know, and it's the same effect that the way I'm just feeling, it's like the yellow lading is now colliding onto the whole stomach, so it's going to be bringing some shenanigans here and there. I know much of the people talk about getting to be safe. That's the move, and we always talk about that's the move. And thank you very much, because every kind of the channels have now been restored, and we understand the nature is how it's just wobbling here and there, because you understand Kenge was just looking for the views, so as you can just, you know, drama is whatever they just sleep on and they just antagonize themselves onto. You have to understand such kind of the thing, because they have to make sure that this kind of the drama is coming A, B, C, D here and there, so they can just earn a little bit of money, so as they can just buy some of the pampers here and there and cherish together. For the fact right now they're talking about Gintu and this kind of the lady called Qarol. Oh, Qarol, they're now calling her some of the names that I don't know why. It's because of you know, the competition. I know the competition how it is, and we have to understand ourselves that whenever the competition is there, you should just make sure that they are giving you much of the names. The much of the names do come from the same. It's only Gintu that has not got much of the talk about the twisting of the names here and there, because they understand that my name is coefficiently stable in a way that you can overturn. If you want to turn it, you can just call him the real G. That's the only thing. As we can just go forward. And the fact is, when we can just alliterate, if we go straight to the point, is whereby they're just feeling it jealousy. That now they're just putting that, oh, because you have to be strong enough for you to be mentioned. If somebody cannot mention you, it means that if somebody can just be mentioning you and then, it means that you're so important person for the kind of the life. And for the life to continue forward, you have to make sure that you are aligning yourself to this kind of the people so that you can just move very fantastic. And also, guys, that is the bad accusation that are just coming out with in terms of talking about Gintu has been this and then this with them, Qarol here and there. Stop that kind of the nonsense, because right now everybody is focusing on how everything is coming. Other people are just restoring their channels. Talk about the JT. I know things are not occurring good. By now, everybody is trying to make it happen. And on trending, you saw much of on trending talking about much of the people have still talking about they have hooked up much of the channels here and talking about they're calling themselves on trending 2.0. But hashtag talk about art. It's at notorious, and you can just think about it. And that's the real fact about it. Much of the people are now thinking about, oh, they're gonna be talking about this, and so they can just come to your channel and bring some of the chaotic things. Now we have just understood much of the subscribers who are thinking about, oh, these are all talk about the fans who are talking about, oh, these are no. We have to get forward very much. And the condition is a little bit chilly, and you can just understand right now. I talked about people have just planted much of the crops and the vegetables here, and it's going to be a very fantastic. That's why I always prefer to have bananas here, because they don't have a season. And also talk about the pineapples. They don't have a season. Like mangoes, they have seasons, and whenever it gets to the mangoes, now people talk about, oh, this kind of the pineapples, they don't have their own matter. They go to the mangoes. That's the real fact about even right now how people do move together, because you can just understand whenever even a boy looks at this kind of the person is looking this way, talk about, oh, now this one is obvious, so I have to go to another panel and check on what is just happening to that kind of the flatment there. That's the real fact and how the thing gonna be coming out. We have to understand ourselves here. And when we go back to the G Castle here, the G Castle is moving forward, and we have much of the things today to talk about. We are continuing with the same things, talk about the welding of the window, talk about the grease, and talk about the doors here and there. And right now, God has created much of at the good moment, because the electricity has not yet gone. That's the best moment, because I'm using my own electricity here to make sure that I'm welding much of the grill windows here and doors here. And also we have the tiling, which is on continuing the way we always continue with them, making sure that the G Castle has to broadcast and be out here to have a very fantastic moment in terms of the neatness and also extremely a beautiful way of attraction here. And it's going to be looking from far end a little bit this and this, but for the people who want to support Gintu, and make sure that we're just moving forward. Guys, my tiles are over. Somebody who can just talk about Gintu, I can buy you some of the tiles also. And much of the people have been supporting, talking about Gintu, I can buy you this kind of the tiles here. I bought last time, there's one who supported me with a little bit of let's talk about there were eight boxes of tiles here, and already they're just gone, because I needed like 40 boxes of tiles here, so they can just complete the whole house. And you know, understand this kind of the house is a unique character, because you have to start from up and coming down. That's what is now defaulting to other people. They're just thinking about, oh, this kind of the house is this way. And you know, I understand much of the people who started with this kind of the construction here, much of them, they have just already relaxed a little bit, making sure that they're going to be looking for much of the money. I've tried my best, because it has not been easy, guys. And even the person who always talk about the construction, and we are just wobbling here and there, just walking, maneuvering around here, and collecting a little bit of the things that we're going to be having. Right now, guys, the windows are ongoing, and what I'm just requesting for anyone who can just talk about Gintu, the tiles here a little bit, and also talk about the other issues about talk about the welding here, talk about this kind of the wages of the guy who is welding here and there, making sure that we have to get forward. I'm not like the Kenge that are going to be talking about, oh, I'm going to be growing your channel so as we can continue the working here. I don't have such kind of the things. You can just remember from Miami has ever been monetized here, and I don't have to talk about, oh, because you have monetized, you have to pay me this way. No, whenever I give them some of the works they have to do, and make sure that they are paid, very necessary. And because of that's kind of the reaction and how we always go forward, we have just checked much of the people have just come out and terms of the reactors in Yabon, talking about, oh, this kind of the person is this way, or this kind of the person has taken this kind of the lady to the Gintu's position. You are just lacking much of the conscience and epitome of the moment, because whenever somebody is talking about you are just pregnant, that's the real fact about it. Somebody cannot think beyond his own glimpse. He's just talking besides accompanied with his own buttocks. That's the default that is coming out from one of the locals. Talk about the local reactors who are out. It's because of talking about this kind of the person. How is he moving out, and how is this kind of the person moving this kind of, that's what we're always talking about. We have to chase together and make sure that everything is happening here. The real fact is the G Castle right now, we have just we are reaching at 63% way complete, because when we shall finish much of the tiling here and there, we're going to be having and also the grills and be placed where necessary and molded onto the house. It's going to be now in a 63% complete, because from there now we're going to be making sure that I'm purchasing much of the timbers for talk about the timbers to make sure that the gypsum boards are just placed there, and also so we have to put there talk about the timbers or talk about the alignments for it's called the gypsum boards, or talk about the ceiling board here, and make sure that now we're going to be having the plaster. So this kind of the month, I think we're going to be having this kind of the things being handled here, and also much of the plaster going to be starting this month the way we are talking about. So as far as everything is in concern, I talked about yesterday about going to be having a perimeter wall here, and somebody was talking about, oh, Gintu, don't say about whatever you want to do, guys. Whenever I say about the perimeter wall, everybody will just check about the perimeter wall, so you can just have much of the security to preserve in terms of the GCAS, because much of the attacks are coming. Person can just come and enter like the way you are entering to your wife. You know, some of the things are not so serious. And whenever you go to the real platform and talk about, why did you come to my home and just hijacked and you trespass without my own acknowledgement? You are talking about, no, I came in peace. Am I in peace? My food. That is the stupidity of the highest order. You can talk about that's what the Kenyans are. And whenever we talk about how can we solidarize this and talk about, no, I wanted you to go in the custody and some of the solventions here. Why can't you solve it while we are just around? That's the stupidity of the highest order. Why do you engage some of the person who are not even included to the YouTube platform and talk about, oh, this kind of the people have to attend to this kind of the person and do some of the crackatoos or throw that kind of person into an imbroglio? That's unconditional circumstance. They will talk about this is how the movement should go. And about the fish farming here, I talked about going to be making sure that the fish are democratizing. Very, very fantastic. That's the best moment that we always talk about. Gintu A, woo, Gintu B. Let's talk, guys, a little bit and making sure that I'm updating you whatever is just taking place here. And we are moving in a way that it's a speed way. And thank you very much for everyone who has been tuned. So right now we have this kind of the guy who is welding here. I'm going to be making sure that the welding is continuing. Talk about the windows here and there. And also I'm going to be making sure they're fixing the deck. Talk about the how are they called? The rods that are going to be there at the deck to make sure that security is preserved. And also you're going to be making sure that right now I'm going to be coming out with a grill, my own grill, because last time we ever talked about hey this kind of I think that's the reaction of I think you're going to be having some rain, so it's just a silly morning, so you understand. I talked about the pneumonias a little bit occurring to myself. A little bit going to be having this kind of the video never going to be coming out. I'm going to be making sure I'm checking out to another panel so that I can just have much of the security pattern and preserve myself. Very fantastic. That's the best moment. I was talking about this kind of the welder who is here. I'm going to be fixing, even I'm going to be having to buy a super drum. It's like a drum that's going to be very, very coefficient in terms of making the grill, because this kind of the G Castle, it has to have a grill which is so comfortable for us to have the grease here and there, because we understand last time I was talking about I'm going to this kind of the guy called Royal Kim, and I booked much of that kind of a grill, and a little bit whenever we entered it, and again time they talked about now Priest Kasagati has this kind of the moment. So when I called Priest Kasagati and told me that, oh, Gintu, where are you? And you know, whenever I see your call, I don't feel comfortable. I don't know why they don't feel comfortable. I don't understand. They think about whenever I call them, I want to hit them like Cherokee drums. You understand how the things are going to be going forward. But I don't have such kind of the scenarios right now, because as far as you are conducting yourself in a way that it's better and it can just bring some of the development. It's not like the other wobbling warthogs who are just talking about, oh, this and that and this. They're just wobbling here and there. That's wahala. You understand. And right now you have just checked much of the things that are coming out already, that people are going to be coming back to the center, because that's the pressure that was coming out, talking about, oh, how can that kind of a person be a mimicry, this one, this and this one. You understand much of the people are talking about, yeah, I don't want to travel right now. I know the stomach is going to be breaking some of the flatness here, and talking about, oh, this and that. We understand much of the things out there. And I was talking about the fish farming here, and right now it's going to be raining every time, raining, and we're going to be accumulating much of the water into the fish tank here and make sure that we are making it happen. Guys, you can just understand when I was making sure that this kind of the fish rearing, I was the best moment whenever I was just at the Kenge fraternity there, and I was getting much of the works to do. And whenever I went to Nairobi, I got much of the clientele talking about, oh, Gintu A, Gintu B, Gintu C, Gintu come here. Even in Kisii, there's one time I went to Kisii, and that guy who is from Kisii, I don't know, it's because I came out of Kenya. Much of the people are supporting Kenya and talking about, because of Kenya, I have to give you this kind of the work. But the fact is, we ever saw our lives that we cannot prevail in a way that people don't need us. And that's the real fact about how the people think about, oh, this kind of the people are this way. You have to look for yourself. That's the best moment. Because even when I was talking about, much of the people think about it's just a stupid thing that when I always talk about let's check this kind of the advancement of the way that we're gonna be getting forward in a way that there's a person who was told in the he went to much of talk about this kind of the people who are just getting people's herbs and this kind of things here. They're called witch doctors. And whenever I went to the witch doctor and talked about, hey, sir, I want me to be rich, so how can you help me to be rich? And the guy told him that, oh, you want to be rich? Very easy. Make sure that I'm sending you somewhere, and whenever you go there, and make sure that around the river, and whenever you can just see a donkey coming, make sure that you grab a tail on talk about a tail of a donkey, and whenever you grab it, already you are just going to be rich. And whenever the guy went and just stood there alongside the river and waited for whatever going to be coming out. So he was told that whatever comes out, just grab the tail. I was not told whatever is going to be coming. So whenever just went and stood at the river there and waited for this kind of the thing to come out, the donkey come out of water, and it was coming slowly and running small. So one of the guys talking about, oh, why is this kind of the stuff looking this way? And it was coming out while it looks like the face is open, and it was okay. How can a donkey look like that? Like the downer jaw is not available, so it's just the upper jaw only, and the teeth are this way. So this jaw is no longer available. So this kind of the guy was talking about, oh, which kind of a crutch is this one? So whenever you could just sense already this kind of the donkey had already gone, and he never grabbed the tail, and he went back to this kind of the witch doctor again and talked about, hey, sir, you know what? That was I have never seen such kind of thing. So you never focus on whatever you are told, and the only thing that you are focusing is thinking about, how is this kind of the thing coming out? I want to become that kind of a story. And the second time he went back and talked about, this kind of the thing, no, it frustrated me. I could not touch. Whenever I saw this way, it had already disappeared. You understand this kind of the magics here. So this kind of the witch doctor talked about, okay, go back to the same position and make sure that you are grabbing a tail again. So go. So the guy went back, and next time then the same donkey came out. And how the donkey was, it was carrying a very beautiful lady, a petite and a Latin lady, and she was just wearing a bikini, which is a little bit focusing on the surface area exposed. So this kind of the guy talked about, he was not focusing on how the donkey owner going to be grabbing this kind of the tail of a donkey. He was emphasizing himself and to making sure that he's checking on how the petite lady is looking like. So he was not comfortable in terms of checking whatever he was being told. So again, whenever he was just wobbling there, the donkey passed a few with that kind of the beautiful lady, and it disappeared again. So what are you going to do? Again, he went back, and now whenever he reached there, he talked about, now I'm giving you the last moment, but you have to clear all my areas. So clear them, and the guy said, I can clear right now. And the guy cleared and talked about to go back to that position again and make sure that you are grabbing it again. So when he went back to the same river and talked about, okay, let me make sure that I'm focusing on the tail. No, I'm not focusing on any other thing. So whenever I reached there, now this kind of the donkey again came, but it was having more of the tails. Talk about like 10 tails. So the guy was now wondering, which kind of the tail am I going to take? Which kind of the tail am I going to grab? And you have to grab the same, the real tail. Talk about the real tail is coming from, talk about the loop of Henry here. And you understand such kind of the things. So whenever the guy was just wondering which kind of the tail to grab, the donkey had already passed. And you have played of everything. So this kind of a teaching is coming out in a way that sometimes whenever opportunity comes, that this opportunity, some of the people think about the opportunity will just come again and again and again and again. That's what is giving the people the problem. And that's why you see much of the hates are coming. And people are never focused. And to the real focus is when I was entering to this kind of the YouTube platform, I knew myself that I want to make sure that I'm building a house and making other things, and I have to drive my family the way in the ancient time we used to sleep hungry, you understand, and there's a time even we could just lose much of there's no even flour into the house, and you can just understand such kind of the scenario, because much of the people who have ever slept hungry, you understand yourself and you understand how the street is. So I ever grew up talking about I will never have such kind of the scenario, because you can never depend on your own brothers. Talking about, my mother was very sick and was being taken care of, was being admitted for more than 6 months. So the only person who was left here is me. You can never ever, my brothers are the ones and my sisters are taking care of my mother. When you call them and tell them that, we lack this one and you are at home here, they will tell you that strive to make it happen. How do you want? So you want your mother to send you the money. That's how I ever grew up talking about I have to depend on myself. That's the best moment I was ever growing with. And much of the people, they will have to understand this kind of the moment, how it comes. Whenever you see Gintu prosper, don't think about Gintu ever woke up and talked about this, the YouTube platform. Much of the young boys, they are thinking about, Gintu maybe woke up and talked about this as a YouTube and we have to get forward. That's not the way. And it's the fact. Even if you ask any kind of the reactors here and there, even Kenge himself, whenever you ask him, I'm going to be talking about, no, these are how the struggles are. And always talk about, the struggles of paying transport, going to this street here, paying food, paying rent, paying this kind of things. You understand this kind of the things. It's the same as whenever we ever struggling to make this kind of the living here. It has not been easy. Much of the people ever left it and talked about, no, I will never come back to this kind of the scenarios here. You understand what I mean? And that's the real fact about how we're going to be getting forward. So the real fact of the time is we are struggling to make it happen, and that's the real fact and the viable about it. Whenever we can just come outside here and talk about this is the reason why we want to progress. And to the real effect of the time is the jealousy is always coming in terms of much of the reactors. You understand. Right now the reactors are already making sure that Gintu is compiling in every kind of the video. And I'm not like Kenge that I will talk about, whoever is just using my face. I don't have such kind of the stupidity. And I will never have such kind of the moment talking about, this kind of a person who is just using my I don't have that kind of the wobbling moment. Yeah. And the fact is whoever want to use my face, who use my content, use whatever, you can just use it the way you want. Because as far as everything is going on, we have to get forward that this are the moment that we have to get forward. And to the real postcoms and the OSCOMs of the day is much of the things, they're going to be continuing to make sure that this kind of the things are just growing and we grow ourselves here. That's why much of the people right now, there are some of them who are just talking about, I wish I knew I could not be in this kind of the reaction, talking about the positive reaction. There's nothing like a reaction which is positive or negative. The reaction is a reaction. Whether you are altering much of the content or altering much of the content. That's why you see, how can a person come from the very big narrative way and come to attack this kind of the minor narrative people who are just making sure that they're wobbling and making some of the things of Wahala outside here and there. And that's the moment that we are looking for. But the effect of just targeting this kind of the people, this one, there, that's not the good moment that we're going to be getting forward. That's the best moment that I can just approach and tell much of the people that we have to get forward to another episode or another eplom of the time. And when we go back to the same regionum, of whenever you're talking about the reactors that are just reacting this one, there, this one. Right now, everybody is just a friend. We're calling each other and talking about, can you just do this? Can you just do this? No. Yeah, we have to get forward. And you understand, it's because we are just far away. Gintu is the only reactor who is just under Masubon. We are just far away in Nyabuanzi. We could not be in Nairobi. Much of the people are thinking about, this kind of the people. And whoever is talking about Gintu has ever been meeting with this kind of the lady called Qarol. You are just guessing your time, because you will never get Gintu in such kind of the things that you want to make sure that you are regulating or accusing Gintu with. That's just the moment. But what I can just talk about is the better is she's not is not the same male like me, but the only thing, she's a female. So whenever I talk about Gintu is a male and she's a female, let's go forward. Despite the challenges here and there, we have to make sure that the other things are just coming in. That's the real fact about what I can just talk about right now, because we have to get forward and make sure that the other things are just emphasized here. So guys, you can just support Gintu and make sure that you are we are moving forward. Right now, guys, I'm telling you, I'm broke. That's the real fact, and I'm gonna be saying it at the real fact, because I've been buying here some of the steels here, some of the tiles here, but right now a little bit I can just tell you that I'm broke, and that's the real fact. Even my cement, that I've remained 3 of them onto the house, and the tiling is no longer available, and it's no longer in a complete mission. So somebody can talk about Gintu, I can just support you in this one. I can just appreciate and talk about, thank you very much, let's go forward. And God bless you again and again and again. For the people who are ever in the Eid, thank you very much for Alhamdulillah. That's the best moment that you have get your pilika and shamra here and there, and you are already back to the system. So whenever I cannot be going back to the G Castle, so I can just check whatever is just happening here. I'm going to be talking about things are just coming out very fantastic. Let me check on what is right happening here. Much of the people talk about Gintu, what's really happening to the G Castle here, so they can just know and rate it the way they are, and make sure that we are supporting each other, and make sure that everything is moving very fantastic. And that's the really fact about whatever we have to do here. The dog is here, and it's just making sure that everything is so fantastic here. Hi, fantastic. So we are checking much of the moment here and making sure that the dog, you can understand, guys, and that's the moment. We have accepted that they have killed. Whatever gonna be coming back. Hey, can you go and wear some of the sweaters? And over sweater. You don't want a sweater? Why?
This one.
Because?
This one.
What is this? Box.
Yes.
Aya, enda basi uvae sweta.
Yeah.
Afu nakuletea soda. Yeah. We are back to the G Castle here, and things are just happening here. Wow. I can see the windows here are making shape, guys, and everything is so fantastic here. So already we are moving very fantastic, and I can just check whatever is just happening here, and this is the design that's going to be coming out. That's the best design that we are just checking. On the 2 doors here already fixed a little bit, making sure they're going to be fixing other things here and there. So we are in the 3rd. How are you, man?
I'm good.
Everything is good?
Yeah.
I recognize your presence, bro.
I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm struggling with the grills making.
Exactly. Introduce yourself.
That the J Castle is secured.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Introduce yourself, man.
I'm Fundi Duke.
Fundi Duke.
Right here, ensuring that I'm securing the J Castle.
Exactly.
Right today, I wake up early.
Yeah.
And I said that I have to start with the sitting room.
The sitting room.
I have to ensure that
you fix the sitting room.
This week, I fix the grills at the sitting room.
Yeah.
And the door.
Yeah.
And the kitchen entrance. We call it emergency door.
Emergency door.
So we fix the emergency door.
Yeah.
The main door.
Yeah.
And the grills are there.
Of the sitting room. Exactly.
Yeah. Then I go to the
talk about the main bedroom. Yeah. Then go to the other section now.
Yeah.
That's the best moment. So guys, Fundi Duke is the one who is performing much of the magics here to make sure that they're gonna be restoring much of the dignity of the G Castle here. Because I talk about is the welding here to make sure that whenever we're gonna be finishing the welding and be fixed onto the windows here, and the tiles are gonna be fixed there, you're gonna be making that we are in a 63%. That's the best moment. So go check him. It's Fundi Duke, Fundy, and Duke is Duke, which is a do exactly. That's the best moment here. So go check him in there and subscribe, like, share, comment. But yesterday I talked about I shared a little bit of the link there and the last video here, and much of the people are just making sure that we're gonna be checking on him and making sure we're supporting him a little bit. Let's make him to 1,000 subscribers, guys, and we're gonna be appreciating the moment. We're gonna be sharing always, because you can never know what tomorrow comes. Because when we were just at the same point there, maybe you never knew that maybe once upon a time Gintu will ever come to have a G Castle and come to work work here. That's the best moment that we ever talk about. God is something else. You can never know whatever God has planned for somebody. Maybe I talked about Gintu can just gain much of the experience from the talk about the villa, and Gintu will give him the experience whenever it comes to my point here. So let's him talk about get him to monetization of the channel, and we just talk about that's the Kundo's moment that we're going to be talking about here. So that continue the work, man, and that's the fantastic moment we have here. Exactly. And my security right now, they're tight, making sure that everything is secure, because last time they were just sleeping in class. I talked about they're going to be lowering the food amount here, or they had not taken much of the food here, but that's the best moment that we have here, making sure that everything is moving very fantastic. So as I talked about, guys, we are using the same, and God had promised us very much a good effort that the electricity has not got yet. Talk about the blackout is no longer available, and that's the best moment to talk about. That's the best moment we have here a little bit, so as we can just work, because if there's no electricity, there's no, I think there's no work here, because we have not yet brought some of the generators, and whenever we talk about we're going to be bringing some of the generators here, so when somebody can talk about, oh, what are you going to use? It's just a welding machine. Talk about, no, I cannot have my generator going to out in such kind of the moment. So that's the best moment that we have, and we appreciate for the God's blessings, because it has not been no easy, and we understand whenever God talk about, we have to get forward, despite the challenge that people want to be talking about, oh, this kind of the person cannot move forward. That's the best moment we have here, and making sure that we are moving forward very fantastic. So the measurements here is already going on, and whenever I see much of the work is going, that's the best moment I was ever talking about. Whenever I see something is done, whenever it's small and we are making a move, I talk about everything is good. So guys, you can consider check on Fundi Duke and support him a little bit, and make sure that he is even getting that kind of the morale for him to talk about, oh, I came back to the same area, talk about the village here, and I got much of the moment here to cherish and talk about, we have to get forward. That's the best moment here. So keep it tuned, keep it locked. Let me go and check the other panel top of the top of the G Castle here to check on what's really happening here, and are they moving well, or how the things are just going. So guys, even right now I think my stomach is roaming a little bit. I think I've just spoken much of the things here, and I have to make sure that everything is put in consideration. That's the best moment here. So if right now here we have this kind of the panel here already placed with some of the tiles here, and it was the best moment that we're ever looking for, and making sure that whenever it's going to be fixed this way, I think about now it's going to be shining from the far end. You can even check it from here. So I have this kind of the guy here. How are you, man? Everything is good. Yeah. Mixing here, making sure everything is so fantastic. Yeah, exactly. I appreciate, man. Yeah. Let's work. Yeah. Fundi. Yep. Everything is good. Yeah. Fantastic. So he's making sure that everything is put in focus, and everything is put in a matter of making sure everything is so good here. So guys, that's the best moment that we're gonna be talking about here and there, and cherishing together. As I was talking about, you can just check the far end, guys. It's only this kind of the panel here. We have already used more than 25 tiles, boxes of tiles already. We have already used in this kind of the panel only. So it means that we're going to be needing more than 10 boxes of tiles. So as you can just fix the other far corner, and that kind of a brim like this one here that's just passing here. It's going to be going even to the far end. It's the longest one, because this one here doesn't come to the end, and you can just check where the end is. So that's the best moment we're talking about here. So I want to support Gintu. Guys, I'm telling you that as a fact. Right now, Gintu is a little bit having a brokenness here. So somebody can just support Gintu and talk about, oh, Gintu, even if it's just $10, I can just appreciate and talk about God bless you very abundantly. That's the best moment, guys. That's the how we can just get forward, because when I don't have something, I can just take it and I tell you the fact, because I got much of the money a little bit here, so as I can just make sure that I'm not a drinker. I don't misuse the money here. That's the real fact. Whatever comes, I have to get it to the G Castle, and we will see the movement, how it's going, because much of the people never talk about, oh, this and that. You can never see the house going on. We talk about, oh, the money I had is a little bit, and the real fact is you can support Gintu and make it happen here, and you're gonna just making it happen. So for the fact is I come to your humble legs here down and talk about I'm pleading forever. You can just talk about even if it's $1, I can just appreciate. You can just use my number. It's +2547 00490047 +2547 00490047. That's the best moment here. So we are fixing the nation. We are making sure that the nation is fixed. That's the best moment here, and As you can just take to the other panel here, it's only this kind of the section is just remaining in terms of putting some of the oil sheets. Some of them are there and making sure that they are just placed at the middle there to make sure that everything's off. And so whenever you're going to be having the moment and concluding this kind of the jigsaw, we have to make sure that we are washing all this kind of the cement that are just remaining and to there talk about this kind of the iron sheet. Whenever they come to this kind of the section here, we're going to be making sure that we are fixing the nation very properly and fixing this kind of the talk about the tunnel that's going to be going to the far end here. So I want to check on the materials that are remaining here so they can just give you the full data so that people can talk about, oh, Gintu, I'm not sharing these kind of things that are happening. Hey, Peter.
Yes.
How many boxes have remained?
Just one.
One box has remained.
Yeah.
And cement?
Cement, I think there are about 6.
6. Exactly. So guys, so it means that they're going to be finishing with this kind of the tanks here. We are done, and completely we are done. And I'm going to be making sure that I'm just purchasing much of the tiles here to make sure that everything. So we can just get much of the hint from the top engineer. Top engineer,
yep.
How many boxes do you think they're going to just finish the other side and that straight panel there? Like how many boxes?
Around 10.
Around 10 boxes.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I was not guessing, guys. That was the fact, and I just checked on how they are just happening here. So I'm gonna be having the total gonna be like 35 boxes of the tires that have to be demobilized here, because already we have just used 25 boxes here. We are remaining with how many boxes? Remaining with 10 boxes here to have 35 boxes here. One box is 1,500 approximately. Whenever we want to calculate it in a way that we want to have, it's like $12 here. And for you to buy one box of a tile, that's the fantastic moment. So these stuffs here, they're already dried up and they're going to be fixed to the rooftop there, the same way I ever talked about how to make it happen. So the cement, this is the soft of the cement. Yeah, the cement a little bit here. They're like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 cements here, not 6. And oh, we have this kind of the half here. And this is where we are ever having some of the stores here. And these are the tile box that's remaining. And when I talk about the tile boxes here, I do mean that even we have something called the metallic strips here. We're going to be having one pair, talk about one, that kind of, talk about how can we call it, a bunch or something. 25 of them packed together. One package of this kind of the metallic strips here, and one cost at 6,250, which is approximately around $50. Somebody can talk about Gintu, buy this one here, and I'm gonna just talk about, thank you very much for your time. And whenever we fix everything here, I was talking about after finishing everything here, we're gonna be making sure that we are fixing the ceiling board, the timbers, so as you can just have the plaster, because that's the best moment I was ever been told that it's the best moment for us to go. Wow. Yeah. So guys, as you can just check, the fixing is here, and I think it's moving in a good pace here, and that's the best moment here, because we're gonna be only finishing here, and those are the only windows that are having some hectic moment here. But whenever we're gonna be fixing them here, you're gonna be making sure that everything is so fantastic. That is the best, because of they are so big enough, because they're talking about they're gonna be 6 by 6 here, so they look like a square here. And whenever we're gonna be fixing this kind of the bigger windows, there are 3 of them which are so big, and we're gonna be going to the back side of the we have the other ones here. Then even this one is a big window here, because it's a corner window, and that is the best moment that we have here. And they're gonna be making sure that everything that is coming here is gonna be so fantastic. As you can just check the G castle right now, to the top there we have a white spot brim here that is located onto that kind of the spot. And talk about is the best moment that we're gonna be making sure that we are moving on with, and we cherish much of the moment that people are talking about. Gintu, we have to get forward. That's the best moment that we are always coming about. And I've talked too much. For the people who I'm very sorry for the people who have just maybe wronged a little bit, yeah, and making sure that I apologize for that kind of the moment. But we have to get forward. Some of the people have to be updated on what is really happening, because much of the people, whenever they don't hear the voice of Gintu, they talk about, oh, I'm gonna be child sick here. But the effect is we have to get forward for the real fact here. And the greens are already being transferred to the seed bed here, and that was the best moment I was ever talking about. As we see much of the fish pond here, it's now turning water into green. That's the best moment we're ever looking for, because the green nature gonna be providing 5 effect impact here. We are ever talking about the green nature of the water here gonna be providing the security. There's no much of the viewing of the talk about the predator can just view from the aerial view. That's the first moment that even the fish are gonna be secure. The second one is whenever we have this kind of the green water, we're gonna be having talk about the algae concentration here. If we have the algae concentration is very fast here, we're gonna be having so mature of the fishes are gonna be coming out of this kind of the position. And also whenever we have the green nature, we have there's no serpents to talk about the snakes can never attempt to come to this kind of the position. The way they're gonna be doing, there's nothing like that can ever happen to this kind of the position already. And the fact moment you can just use this kind of the water because it's already manure. You can just use it to water your own crops here. That is the best moment that I ever brought this kind of the stuff here. So as people can just acknowledge and know that we're gonna be having some of the green zone here. Right now it's gonna be happening to have a very good green zone here, because you can just see from the far end here. And my mother there, she's just making sure that she's planting much of the greens to make sure the area is effectively green. That's the best moment again. And as we have this kind of the bloom, so you can just see the green blooms here happening to this kind of the small outskirt water here, to make sure that we're going to be having some of the catfish going to be ready here. And this kind of the water going to be so effective. We're going to be having what we see here, it's not the talk about not the space provided here, the surface area. No, we're going to be checking out about the volume ratio, of this kind of the pond. So as we can just have much of the catfish here, they're going to be growing very fantastic, and we're going to be eating them with some of the greens here. Let me check on my mom here. She's making sure that everything is coming out very clear, and she's just looking at me that, oh, can we be coming here? And going to be closing the chapter with her here. How are you?
I'm fine.
Everything is good.
It's good.
She's planting much of the greens
planting.
here. Oh, you're planting. Yeah, and the chicken, si kuku zitaribu ama utaziba?
Tafunga kuku.
Oh, utafunga kuku.
Yeah.
I was talking about the whenever she's planting this kind of the greens, they're called black nightshade. We call them here managu. That's the fact here. And she's making sure that she's planting them here. Yeah, this is the best moment, guys. And whenever she's planting this way here, and we're gonna be having much of this kind of the area being supplied with the much of the greens here. I'm gonna be taking them to the hospital and make sure that she get a little of our moment. We talk about the money, or even we're gonna be having to eat them here, because whenever we have them here, we're gonna be talking about the food. We're gonna be not have insufficient food here, and that's the best moment here. They're called managu in our language here, and whenever we're gonna be having a dry season here, we're gonna be using this kind of the water to pump to this kind of the green shambas here, to make sure that we are supplying them here. And the chicken are already rotating here, making sure they're gonna be checking. Oh, you are planting again, you're gonna be coming back. That's that's the nature. It accommodates the nature. That's the nature exactly. So guys, this is the best moment that we have here, and keep it tuned, keep it locked here. I can just check here because we just dug this kind of the side here. I think it's now going down to make sure that it's paving way for or it's just compressing itself. I can just hear much of the people there making some of the noises from the road there. I think it's talk about the burial ceremony. Maybe it's a morgue. They're coming from the morgue there. So that's the best way that you can just talk about. Here we are just going, and I can just hear much of the cows there making some wobbling inside there. So let me check on the cow and make sure that we are fixing the nation properly. So keep it tuned, keep it locked. I think we've just enjoyed this kind of the session here, and today Gintu have just talked about a little bit of another language, another the way I always talk about, because I'm having a little bit of a chest problem. So support Gintu, guys. I'm just ending this kind of the video. Keep it tuned.